Hey YouTube! In this video, I will be giving an honest review and a generalized overview of the French ARFA mask. So, to get started, I will give some brief history on the mask. Somewhere around the early 90s, France decided to create a fourth generation mask in an attempt to modernize their previous ANP M51 mask, which had been used from somewhere around the 1950s up to the 90s, which uh, this mask was created. The product was the ANP VP F1 or ARFA mask. Um, it's a quite simple mask in design, but it has like many necessary components that you'd find in a quote-unquote modern mask, such as the creation of a voice diaphragm to allow easier communication, a drinking system to allow wearers to drink with the mask on, and a inner oral nasal cup to prevent fogging and overheating of the wearer. In the ARFA kit, or ARFA as I like to call it sometimes, the mask is commonly found in a kit including the mask itself, a sealed filter, and a single haversack or a mask carrier. Though you can sometimes find water canteens for this mask, but they're quite hard to come by. But by no means they're not impossible to get at all. Moving on to the filter itself, usually issued with the ARFA kit, you would get a CFF2, a CFF3, or a CFF4 filter, which are all quite similar in appearance. But as you can see, mine is a CFF3 filter, which looks like, the generic 40mm NATO or Stanag RD4D filter. Yeah, not much to say. And the cool thing I wanted to point out is when I first picked up this mask, I noticed that inside the threaded filter port, you'd see a date right there. And my best guess is that is a manufacturing date for the filter. So yeah, pretty cool thing I found about the filter, which I don't see in my C2A1 canister. And then moving on to the haversack or mask carrier. So it's kind of a bulky design, yet simple, but it's very spacious, to say the least. So there's two side flaps on the left and the right side. On the back, you'll find a sort of clip and loop system, I guess, which, to my knowledge, is probably for some to attach to a French soldier's combat belt, or maybe a load-bearing equipment system. Oh, and as you can see, or if you can see, on the bottom there's this sort of strap surrounding the container. My guess would be it's just to retain the shape of the carrier overall. And the main compartment is revealed by a large top flap. And like I said, very spacious. You'd see some pouches in here. They're pretty slim. I guess you could fit whatever you think you'd need into it, such as like decontamination wipes or chemical contaminant detection paper, or maybe just gloves like I have set up. And lastly, we have the mask itself. As you can see, like I said, it's a very simple design. It uses a front-loading filter system design, which in my opinion, obviously you're about to have your own, but these are just my thoughts that I'm expressing. It's quite inferior to a side-loading design, as to it's quite hard to lay down with this mask, like lay prone, because obviously the filter is on the front, and when you look down, it's kind of hard. And the next con is when you're looking downwards with a front-loading filter mask, it's not uncommon where you find like the filter is crashing straight into your plate carrier or chest. But yeah, the one pro about a single or frontal loading filter mask design that I've realized is that if you can aim down a weapon sight, it's pretty easy to switch from a right to a left-handed shooter configuration, or vice versa. And I will now give you a tour of the mask itself. If you can see on the top, there is a number 2. This is the size of the mask, obviously. The French utilize a numeric NATO sizing system with the size 4 of the ARFA being the size small, the size 1 being the largest. And the 3 is what I believe to be the small medium, and I'm guessing the 2 is the medium. This fits me pretty perfectly, and yeah. Now the inside of the mask, you have a peripheral seal, inner oral nasal cup. If you look straight downwards, you would see a voice diaphragm. On the left is an exhale valve assembly and a drinking tube on the right side. And yeah, the voice diaphragm is, in my experience, pretty clear, but it can be a little bit buzzy at times. If you want to see the voice, or sorry, the drinking system, it's revealed by this kind of rubber lid, I guess. And then to put it back into place, you just simply like press it into place, I guess. And if you want to rotate the drinking system or drinking straw on the inside, you just simply turn this outer thing, and then in this position you have the non-drinking position, and then in this one you turn it this way to drink water and other fluids, but I don't think you're supposed to in a gas mask. Oh, and I'd like to address some problems that many people have with the ARFA. It's not uncommon where you find the lenses to be permanently clouded or fogged up. And usually you see the mask in poor condition. With, like, for example, many people complain about the chin cup being like pretty much disintegrated and like cracking, literally. The rule of thumb is that for pre-96, pre-1996 made ARFAs, you try to avoid those, as those have the most common problems, but not all of them have it. I have some notable friends that have these masks that are made pre-96 and are in pretty pristine condition like mine. Luckily, mine has none of those problems, though the lenses, if you can see, is starting to yellow a bit. The chin cup is also quite stiff, but I mean, it doesn't affect the overall performance and such. Oh, and the harness system. The harness system isn't like your average 6-point, like elastic type strap system, like for example on the Israeli M15 series masks, the US M40, and yeah, such. The ARFA uses a sort of a preset harness system where obviously I have mine adjusted to my size and fit, and to secure the mask you just fit it over and secure it with these two loop and tab closures on the bottom left and right, I guess, cheek points.
Okay, so long story short, my other camera battery died, and I switched to this camera. Hopefully you can adjust to the audio difference and video quality difference, so my apologies for that in advance. But yeah, obviously, as you can see, I have the mask on. In my experience, the voice diaphragm is pretty clear. It can be a bit buzzy at times. When you speak, the exhale valve has a tendency to spatter when you speak, if you can pick up on that. Yeah, so as I'm talking, I now remember to mention, when you're wearing the ARFA mask, over time, the chin seal tends to get, your jaw tends to get very like sore and tired. But yeah, if you're not talking for like maybe for an extended period of time, it wouldn't be such a big problem. But yeah, that's kind of annoying sometimes, but it's okay. I'll perform a negative pressure check. Seal's perfect. And then a positive pressure check. Oh, and then that thing I was mentioning about these side deflectors on the inside that defog the lenses, I'll demonstrate that right now. yeah, if you can see that, you can see it fogging up. These side pistol system are successfully doing their job at defogging the lenses when they get fogged up. I'll show you, I don't have an actual casket or Mitch 2000 helmet. Sadly, I only have an airsoft replica one, and I'll demonstrate the helmet compatibility. Luckily for the ARFA, if you can see that, I don't know if you can, but there's a hood stop similar to that on the Avon S10 for NBC chemical suits. It helps a lot with helmets actually, this little ridge up here. So right now I actually don't have the helmet tightened all the way or loosened all the way to be compatible with this mask. But yeah, it just go under here, but yeah, it sits pretty well really. Not much to say about it if you want to see on the side. And back. I also unfortunately do not have an airsoft rifle, so sadly I have to use this Nerf gun. I'll demonstrate the weapon sight compatibility. Like I said, the front filter port is kind of hard to use to like aim down weapons, like I said, compared to a side loading filter. So yeah, I'll demonstrate that right now. So yeah, with a raised sight, I guess, I don't have any experience with an airsoft weapon, but with a raised sight, it works pretty well. I can line up my front and rear side of this scope. Sadly, I can't do it the left side because I am a right-handed shooter. But yeah, it's pretty easy to switch if you're ambidextrous. But yeah, that's my basic overview on this mask. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and possibly consider subscribing. I hope you found this video informative and helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.